All right, I think we are live.
We are.
Hi, hey everybody. We're going to this is Tracy, and I have a guest, Robert Foster. And hello. And at the moment, I just want to give us a few minutes to just talk and let people find us. I know you wanted to share something off your page, and I wanted it to as well. But yeah, it's raining. Well, it's raining here in Seattle, and we have a windstorm and really heavy rain happening right now. So, how about you? What's going on there?
Here it's just chilly.
Yeah.
So yeah, weather-wise, it's not bad. So it was rainy a few days prior, but it's just starting to get colder. Like I think in the next couple of days we get into the mid-20s.
Oh, I'm trying to remember. You're in Jersey. Wait.
Rhode Island.
Rhode Island. That's
yes,
right.
New England.
New England. Total opposite side of the country.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. I'm going to post really quick to my one group.
Okay.
And let's see. All right. Sorry. Here we are. I think, we got some people have found us. Great. Okay.
Right. Nice.
All right. Hi, everybody. It's Tracy. It's a special lunch edition of Tough Love Tuesday today at 12:30. And I have a guest with me, Robert B. Foster. And Robert, he is the owner of Fitness and Nutrition, RBF.
Don't forget the RBF.
RBF Fitness and Nutrition. And he empowers busy women and moms to recapture their confidence and self-esteem using fitness as a platform. So I really relate to what he does because, I've been a busy mom. I'm a busy entrepreneur right now. And even during my lifespan of time, I have had moments when I've had low confidence. I didn't know if my body could do what I hoped it could do. And I just struggled with some self-esteem because of my body. And so when I met Robert, I realized what he did and how he worked with women to help women get stronger, have more confidence, learn that they they are very strong physically and have a lot of strength within their body. I was like, I've got to introduce you to him. He's a wealth of knowledge. And so, Robert, welcome to Tough Love Tuesday.
Thank you for having me. And I wasn't aware that it was called Tough Love Tuesday because I bring the tough love every day.
I know. I know. All I know, I've been given a lot of tough love, and sometimes that tough love is hard at first, and then that's sometimes where my biggest breakthroughs happen for myself. Yeah. Yes. So yeah. So fill us in a little bit about you.
All right, so RBF Fitness and Nutrition, it's more of a hobby going well, as I always say. So I spent 20 years as a restaurant manager, but I've been an athlete my entire life. So coming out of high school, I always had dreams of managing like a Bally's or something of that nature, Bally's from way back when.
Mm-hmm.
And and my dad was an engineer. And he's very, very skilled with his hands. And he kind of saw into the future a little. And he told me he wanted me to get into computer engineering. Because, back then, computers were around. This was still pre-internet, 1992. Mm-hmm. But he just saw where technology was headed. And he's like, you want computer engineering. So I ended up enrolling in it. But I didn't want to be in it. I just knew I didn't want to be in it.
Mm-hmm.
And so I had Olympic aspirations, but I ended up injuring my knee. And so I ended up getting depressed because now I can't run track and I'm in a field I don't want to be in. So I ended up leaving school, and then I started managing restaurants. But little did I know, I was learning everything I needed to learn to be able to work for myself. Because one thing I also said when I was 17 years old, I remember telling my mom, by the time I'm 40, I'm not going to be punching anybody else's time clock. Mm-hmm. So when I was 34 years old, I made that dream happen. So I started training people in the spare bedroom of my old house. And then it moved to the basement as I got more people. And then it moved to my garage, and then eventually to a park across the street from me. But as I said, I never really thought 10 years later I'd be, traveling around speaking about it on podcasts, on virtual summits. Like, I never envisioned this. It was just something to break up the constant grind of being a restaurant manager.
And you found your passion.
I found it.
Yes. Yes. Wow. So when you're working with women, and I know you train some men as well, correct? You have a mix, but let's talk about that. What you think about what you went through to find your passion with working in this industry, but also people finding their passion and their ability to work with their body. Like, what are some of the things that you do with someone that might feel that maybe something's too heavy for them, or something, or they don't have the wherewithal or the power to be strong? Like, what's some of your advice to someone like that?
All right, well, let me start from how I chose that demographic. So when I first started training, I was trying to train everyone, just train everyone. And when I went to my first fitness summit out in California, everyone kept talking about niches and niches and niches. And like, I kind of knew what it was, but not really. So by the last day of the conference, so remember, I'm sitting in the pool. Mind you, it's March and it was 85 degrees in Southern California. Back home, it was in the teens. So my first thing was, why do I not live here? But the biggest takeaway from that is, if you zero in one area, be known for that one area, and you can still train the other areas. I chose working with women because women seem to put everyone else ahead of themselves. And I found that when women confide in other women, they just tend to swap stories. And I'm not saying across the board. This is just, this is just what I've seen. Yeah, I'm not trying to put everybody in the same basket. But just from what I've seen, is that it's like, they just tend to swap stories, and there's not always a lot of solution there. So I started focusing in on moms just to give another point of view. And it started working, and it started working even better. And then I started to grow. And I was like, whoa, this is a thing. This is a thing. So my approach, and it's almost like unlocking them from the binds that they have to put themselves on the back burner.
Yeah.
I hope I said that right.
That makes a lot of sense, because it's true. As a woman, and I think too with men at the same time, I think society has dictated, and it's something probably from the 70s and the 80s and the 90s, where, if you took care of yourself, obviously you had too much time on your hands and you weren't burning the midnight oil. Yeah. And then as a mom, you've got the kids, you got, oh, here's a good one. People think that stay-at-home mom is easy, Yeah. Sorry. No, that's not
at all.
And it's very hard to get time for yourself, and to think that you're worthy and you should take that time. Yes. Yeah. And my other thing I was going to say to you too is that statement of, we are, if we look at our 5 closest relationships, and it's easy to get caught in maybe those relationships. So if everybody's used to kind of not pushing themselves or physically, or they're not going for something nutrition or health wise, but they're 5, you kind of get caught in that with whoever you're hanging out with.
Yes.
So sounds like to me, you're able to help someone kind of break out of that, see a little bit more for themselves.
Yes.
Take action. Yeah.
Yes. All right. And now to answer the second part of the question. So when people first start with me, I tell them, like, you're just on chapter 1. So especially when you're in a group fitness environment, there's people from all different chapters in there. So you have people 3 months and under, people 6 months to 12 months, people who have been there for 5, 6, 7 years. And I just tell people, you have to focus on where you are right now. And we're going to work on finding your strong. And I just encourage them not to look at the others. Don't compare yourself to others. Don't say, I want to look like her. I want to be as strong like her. I want to run fast like her. It's like, we're just going to focus on you and your strengths, because your strength might not be speed. Your strength might not be power. So I help to uncover what their superpower is, and we zero in on that rather than focusing on, oh, well, I can't lift that heavy. It's like, you don't have to lift that heavy, but you can jump like a frog. So we focus on the strengths.
Yeah. And I think too, that's a really great point, because we've been focused, taught to focus on our weakness.
Yes.
And really, force that weakness to improve while we ignore all the great things about ourselves.
Yes.
And it's a great example. I run, but I realize I think I'm more of a sprinter. I'm more of an interval runner. And even though I can pound myself and try and be something other than that, I don't enjoy it, but I love sprinting and I love that kind of a thing.
Yep.
And so that's where I'm focused. I'm having fun. And so, yeah, it's a great point. Really good point.
Yeah, like one thing I stress as well, again, about comparing yourself to other people. Mm-hmm. Like with me, like I'm small boned. You know what I mean? So if I wanted to have big, gigantic shoulders and 20-inch biceps, like my body's not built for that. And there's another coach in our facility, this guy Wayne. He's the opposite. Like he's a little shorter than I am, but he's got muscles everywhere. And so, so I always use the two of us as an example. I was like, I can't look at Wayne and say, I want arms like his, because my body's not built for it.
Right.
So I'm tall and I'm lean. So I take what my body can give me, and he takes what his body gives him. And that's one thing I try so hard to instill in the women, because there's so much comparison. And I know with TV and magazines and everything, like, a certain type of woman is displayed more often than not. And then people start comparing themselves to what's displayed. But in doing so, you're keeping your own power inside.
Yeah, I can relate to that so well. Starting out when I was in, high school is when I really started to realize the magazines, and this was late 70s, early 80s. So you had to be a thin little tiny stick.
Yep.
And if you weren't a thin, tiny little stick, you were nobody, and that's when my yo-yo dieting started. And it was all based on comparing myself. And I could never, ever make it into that image. And when I did physically make into that image, I realized as an adult how stressed I was and the anxiety I was in, because I didn't appreciate my body for what it did, that it was strong and I had this other capabilities. So I love that that's what you're focusing on, because we need to learn to put those blinders on and gosh, just have a great time with that body we were given and see what it can do. And yeah,
that's all you can do, just maximize what you were given.
Yep, absolutely. And so so I see that, the self-image. Talk to me. We talked about this before, and I would love to go through this again. Was you had a client who didn't think she could lift a specific weight. I would love you to tell that story.
Yes,
it was great.
I have many of those stories from the last decade.
Yeah,
but we were doing circuit training last week, and I had an incline chest press station. I had two 25-pound weights, and it's not incredibly heavy, but she comes over and she just takes a look down and she goes, "Oh, I can't do those." And just immediately I said, "You didn't even touch them. You didn't try to pick them up. You didn't try to get them into position, and you didn't even try one rep, and you just defeated yourself." She's like, okay. She's like, I'll try. And she did it for the entire round. I believe it was either a 1 minute or a minute and a half rounds, but she did it for the entire round. I told her, I said, see, like, stop doubting yourself.
Yeah. And I know I've done that in the past. And then I've had clients I've worked with that and sometimes it's cultural too. And I've noticed it culturally with men too, but I'm like, think strong. You send that strength to that muscle, it's going to respond, and especially, if we're afraid or if you're afraid, if you have your coach right there or something, trust them. trust them. They're going to help your mind learn that it can
Yes.
do so many great things. Yeah.
I always say your body can do so much if your mind would just allow it.
Yep. So what do you think then? Let's go to the mind.
Okay.
What are some of your, ideal mindset mantras or what would you call it?
Like best practices almost.
Best practices. Yeah.
Well, for me personally, now I'm no psychologist, but I know a thing or two. I really think it's understanding how your brain works, because men and women are wired differently. So the way I advise men is different than the way I advise women, because men, we can compartmentalize things. We can shut things off. Like if I'm working on this, I can completely shut off what's going on over there. Whereas women are much better multitaskers than men are. So when you're trying to reprogram someone's mind, you have to reprogram it based on their programming. So one thing I try to have women do at first when time or being busy is working against them is I have them time block. So I say start from the second you wake up and just write out what your day looks like. So rather than saying think this, not that, think this, not that, where can you fit this into your day? That's number one. And then that right there eliminates several excuses just by having it scheduled into your day. Mm-hmm. Then from there, you got to have clarity of vision. And that's where a lot of people go wrong, especially when they're setting fitness goals, is they're very, very vague. So you have to be at a point where you are fed up. And I tell people this in the consultation, like if you're content where you are, we're not going to vibe, because it's tough to push someone who's content. It's like, but if you look in the mirror, or if you're running a race and you're just disgusted by the time you keep getting, and you're like, no, I need to shave 3 minutes off my time. Like I need to do this. Then that person can be reprogrammed very easily. Mm-hmm, so I think when you were on my show, I had said I start with the pain assessment. Mm-hmm. So you have to take a hard, 100% brutally honest look at your starting point. And then you got to have clarity of vision. So as long as you know where you want to go, you can reprogram your habits very easily. The ones who yo-yo is because they're not clear and they're not disciplined. But you get that clarity of vision, then the discipline to get there will follow.
Mm-hmm. And that concept of, me, I was chronic yo-yo dieter, was sometimes I would make the goal, but I didn't learn the lessons along the way. I didn't go through the tough work, like you said, because I didn't want to see it. I didn't want to see that in me. And so I would follow the diet. The minute the time frame was over, I'd feel a bit lost, or I didn't know what to do next because I didn't know how to live like that. And so the next thing I know, all behaviors coming back, all comfort habits, all of that would come back. And so I love that. So the assessment of knowing where you are, and then deciding that it's going to change, we're not doing that anymore. Yep.
Yeah. And I can share it from myself. As I said earlier, I've been an athlete my entire life. And I was, considered elite in track and field. Mm-hmm. And, I hit All-American status, and that takes work. You know what I mean? Like it's not like it just came naturally. I mean, yes, I am from a family of athletes, but that doesn't mean we don't have to put the work in. Mm-hmm. And so, excuse me. And so my ex abandoned my 13-month-old son and I, and blindsided. Gone. I had no idea. So here I am. I'm managing restaurants. I have this 13-year-old kid. And as bad as it sounds, but like in a restaurant, you work anywhere from 10 to 14 hours a day. So like, I didn't know what time he napped. I didn't know how much he was eating. I didn't know what medicines he was on. Like there was so much stuff I didn't know. And so I just really stopped. I used to run every single day, going to the gym every day. I'd be playing basketball. And I shouldn't say every day, but when I had free time. Mm-hmm. And so, you fast forward a few months, because now I'm taking care of my son full time while working. And so I'm at the restaurant. I just cleared a table and I'm carrying dishes. And one of the waiters comes and he slaps me in the gut. And he's like, Foster, what happened to you? And it was a little bit of an eye opener, but it didn't really hit me till later that night when I was getting out of the shower. And I stepped out and I just happened, because usually I step out, grab the towel, and I just start wiping. But I stepped out and I caught myself in the mirror. And I was like, just mortified. Like I had man boobs, I had the round belly, and I sat there. I looked myself in the eye and actually started to tear up a little. Like it was like, just a few years ago, you were an all-American athlete. It's like, how did this happen? And yeah, I'm just under 6'2", but I was 228 pounds, and it wasn't 228 pounds of muscle, because that would look different. So you can see it in my face. It said you can see it in my chest. You can see it in my belly. My thighs were rubbing together, and I didn't even notice. It just kind of happened. But at that moment, I got dressed, and I was like, enough is enough. Like enough is enough. And I went through my kitchen. I got rid of all the junk food. I went down to Gold's Gym and I got a membership because they had babysitting, and I went shopping and got all nutritious foods. And in under 5 months, I knocked down 45 pounds, and I vowed to never get over 200 pounds again. And I didn't, even with the 7 surgeries, I still never got over 200 pounds.
Yeah. And it's interesting, something usually, and let's talk about it. It was something that was extremely life-changing that threw you into this environment you weren't used to.
Yes.
And in your coping mechanism, you did the best you could. And then one day you basically, quote unquote, woke up and didn't even see it coming. But, if we talk about that happens to people every day, and especially now, life is, it's different all the time. It seems like another 2x4 is coming. And, and so, maybe we can go to that. It's a great resiliency concept we can give to the followers here, because, I had the same thing. I was extremely distressed with work. I'd had a snowmobiling accident. And next thing I know, I'm pre-diabetic and overweight. And and then all of a sudden it was that concept of like, oh, how did I let this happen? I can't believe this. I'm so upset. So life happens. But I think you and I can hopefully give people hope here that we can take that and give our body the opportunity and our mind the opportunity to get strong again, to be strong again. So what were some of, I know you explained it, but I know you told us about the literal things you did, but again, in your mind, what allowed you to move forward? I know you made the decision, but I think there had to be more in there.
I got it, because you actually said a key sentence in yours that I don't allow my current clients to say now, is that you said you did the best you could. And when I was staring myself in the eye and I started tearing up, because I knew I wasn't doing the best I could. Because if that was the result of my best, that's a problem. That's a problem. And this is Tough Love Tuesday. So that's what I tell my clients. They're like, oh, I'm doing my best. I'm like, no, like if that's what your best is giving you, you're not doing your best. And people need to come to grips with that level of honesty.
Right. And that level of, I know when I was caught in it and you were caught in it, we couldn't see that.
Yeah.
Things were just it was too much. But I guess that does happen. So when we step and we finally see it and we step forward, then, I know for me, it was learning to be forgiving because I had allowed it to happen.
Yeah.
And then moving on and saying, okay, that's a tough lesson, man. But,
it's like some people can see it on their own. Like me, I saw it. And I said there is no excuse for that. But whereas other people, I mean, you said it earlier about who's in your circle, is they go to people who will coddle them. And they say, oh, well, you've been through a lot and, don't beat yourself up. But not everybody responds to that. You know what I mean? Like some of the most successful people on this planet, like they're hard-nosed, tough. And, I've gotten results for over 2,000 people, mostly women. And it's with that hard-nosed style, but it's not to boost my ego. I'm not like in their face screaming and yelling so I can feel good about myself. I'm like, listen, you said you want to complete XYZ for this reason in this time frame. That effort's not going to do it.
Mm-hmm. You know, and then addressing the mind blocks. Like you said, you know, someone believing that they're not capable, but then you help coach them to say, I am capable. I do have the ability. Yeah. I do have that, you know, and I think too, you know, having someone that you can, that does want to learn, like you said, is ready to show up, and they're willing to take advice from a coach and allow their coach to push them, because the coach knows where the client wants to go.
Yep.
And granted, there's days that people go back, they'll backtrack a bit, but you just start again. You keep going as long as that trending line, you know, keeps moving in that direction that you want to be.
Yeah. And working with moms, I use the struggle that they go through being a mom, because as you know, I'm a single dad, so I do all the same stuff too. You know, so I can relate with that daily grind. And I tell them, like, you had 3 children. I was like, it was like, you've been up all night. Like, I go right down the list. Like, you're telling me you can't hold a 2-minute wall sit? You know, like, you're telling me you can't run to the stop sign and back without stopping? When you do that every single day,
you can do it. Yeah, so it is. That's that strong mindset, and drawing the line in the sand, and being willing to learn about your body. Stop comparing your body to somebody else. You said too, blocking your schedule so that you can find the time to take care of yourself, and that you're worthy of that. You know, those are some of the things I'm hearing from you.
Yeah, the big thing is to uncover your power. It's like we keep looking at other people's powers. Uncover your power.
Yep.
That's what's going to keep you motivated. Because if you're like, if I compare myself as a speaker to Tony Robbins, I'm never going to excel. You know what I mean? He's like a bajillion levels beyond me at this moment. I will catch him eventually, but right now he's far beyond where I am. But I can't look at that and hold myself back.
Right. And what's that saying? Be yourself, everyone else is taken.
Yes.
So it's no use to go forward in our lives trying to be someone else. It just sells us short. It sells you short. It sells everybody short. So my cat's in the picture.
I was like, get a visitor back. Yeah.
Oh, sorry about that. But and I think for me, that was my biggest eye-opening thing was I spent my life trying to be like someone else, and I never let myself be me. And it just made everything so difficult. So so be you completely.
Yes.
Oh, goodness gracious. I can't believe it's almost 1 already.
Wow. Yeah, well, 4:00 here, but yes.
Yeah, okay, 4:00 for you. So what would you like to leave everybody with in you know, as last words? And is there anything how do they find you? All that kind of stuff.
Well, there's many ways to find me. Easiest is Robert B. Foster, my name, .com/speaks. And there we can set up a time to talk. Like if you have someone that's just struggling, being stuck in your own mind, and it's 100% free. There's no sales pitch or anything. I just give you 30 minutes and we can help you unclutter that mind and give you an actionable success plan to get yourself going.
That's awesome. Thank you. So if everyone heard that, that's a 30-minute complimentary session with him. And it, you know, if he resonates with you, you know, take him up on that. Definitely do it. It can't hurt at all.
Exactly.
You know, that's one thing I had to learn too. I had to learn to be coachable, be willing to step out and be told that I had to change. And some people just won't like it. But honestly, you know, I would take him up on that. And can you, when we're done, put that in the comments?
Yes.
Yeah, how to reach you and stuff. So All right. So, Robert, thank you so very much.
My pleasure.
Been a great 30 minutes with you. And I learned something again. Got to learn something new every day.
That's it. Always be learning.
Always be learning. All right. So, so hang out. Don't leave the, I'll turn off the live and then
Okay.
don't go anywhere. Okay.
All
right. Thanks, everybody. Have a wonderful Tuesday. And bring your best self forth as much as you can all the time. Okay. Take care.
Thanks for having me.
Bye.